Good morning, guys. It's Erin from Ginger's Florals. I thought I would get out here today. It's the middle of March, and do a garden tour, a garden and farm tour, before I go and cut all the flowers for Mother's Day. This weekend is Mother's Day. Everything that's in bloom is going to get cut. All the moms need their beautiful flowers, and we have quite a bit that's going that we can bring down to the market. So I wanted to start out here in the field. There's been quite a bit of progress, but first off, I've done a video recently about lupin, but my goodness, they just keep getting better. I'm gonna end up cutting every one of those blossoms today. But so yeah, the lupin is doing really good right now. It's in full bloom, but mainly I wanted to show you the field. This row, this was our first row that we started last fall, actually, and it's doing pretty good. The slugs have gotten after everything a little bit, but this is some foxglove and some sweet William, and then we have sweet rocket that's blooming. Look at that. I have more up front in the bedroom garden that miraculously it overwintered because it was such a warm winter, and it's blooming like crazy right now. But the rest of this row, there's some more foxglove here, and then there's some campanula down there, some Canterbury bells. But I've got almost everything planted. There's 3 rows, 3 regular rows, and then the 3 rows of dahlias that are going to go in this weekend. But we have all of our amaranth, the first round of it. There'll be a succession, and then cosmos. The sunflowers are looking really good. These tall ones are the first succession, and then we had a second one that we planted, and then down there further there's another one. Let's see. This is where we have this row has our teeny tiny eucalyptus, and then there's scented geraniums, and then down at the end I'm going to experiment putting some coleus out there and see if I can get it to grow tall enough to use it as a cut flower or a cut foliage. I love coleus. The colors are just so dynamic, so it'll be an interesting, fun adventure to see if that works. Let's see what else we got. These are the first round of snapdragons in stock. Those also all look really good. We're supposed to get to 80 degrees, 83 today, 82 tomorrow, and then drop off a little bit, and then stick around the 70s, the low 70s, which is just about perfect for here. 83 degrees is high for the middle of April. Or middle of May. There's a joke around here that pretty much anybody that's lived here for any length of time, we don't expect our summer to come until the 5th of July. So it's usually fairly cool, kind of rainy off and on all the way until the first part of July, and then it'll get hot. But this year is proving to be a little bit different. I'm okay with it. Okay, so these are the 3 dahlia rows. I will get these all fixed up this weekend. I'll do a video on how I plant my dahlias, in case you guys haven't done it already. We got these 3 rows of zinnias all planted. They are loving the heat. They always do. This is our second round of snapdragons and stock down there. They're doing really good. This is all black-eyed Susans. We have the Cherokee Sunset, I think, or Indian Summer, excuse me, and then Sahara all down there. They've definitely put on some growth since it started to warm up. They just kind of sat there when I first planted them and didn't really do anything for the first couple of weeks, but now that it's warmed up, they're going for it. So this row, this has all of our Lavaterra and Malapi. I don't know if that's how you say it. And then down at the end is the Cerinthe, or the honeywort. This row, we have 2 different kinds of bee balm, and then some more Cerinthe down there. And I actually have some open space at the very end down here that I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to put down there. Maybe basil, basil might have been what I was thinking. This row has a whole bunch of straw flowers and then gomphrena at the end. And then this one has a random assortment. We have forget-me-nots, the blue and the pink. There's saponaria. There's a bunch of cress, and then the third round of sunflowers. And then this row here, we got in the status. It's status, these little babies. They will also be really happy in the heat. They go all the way down, I think to the end. Yeah, this whole thing is all status. And there's several different varieties, but I'm looking forward to watching everything just explode over the next few days while it gets hot. Pretty much everything out here, for the most part, is pretty heat loving, except for that first row with the foxglove and the Sweet William and Sweet Rocket. Those are cool flowers. So hopefully they make it through the winter or the next few days. But they'll be all right if they make it through those two 80-degree days and it gets down into the low 70s. They'll be okay there. And if anything, it'll just make them shoot up and bloom earlier. Okay. Also, our peony patch. I know it's small, but it's looking really good. We planted all of these the fall before last. And they're doing really good. There's a few up there that are pretty good size, but everything's happy. Some of these little guys I need to come disbud, but the big ones over here, these big ones, I'm not disbudding. I'm gonna cut them. Yeah, I like the cute little, tiny little peony patch. John built the fence around it. I think it's really cute. Don't mind the mess here. John just got off of restrictions after his surgery, so his next project is to come clean all this up. And then after I get the rest of the field planted out is when I can tackle these perennial beds and get them the rest of the way weeded out, and they're kind of a mess at the moment, so don't judge. All right, let's go over, check out, we'll talk about what's left of the ranunculus real quick. I can't get over the lilacs. We have, oh, isn't it beautiful? We have 2 more lilacs out there already planted, and there's another one in a pot. We've got one up front, and I just ordered 4 more lilacs because in the early spring, I can't get over it. I want them all. And they make pretty good cut flowers too. Okay, so ranunculus. This is kind of a weedy mess, and these 3 rows were the first that we planted last fall, and they're petering out. They've been blooming for a month now. Beautiful, big, gorgeous flowers. We still have a few that I can cut out of here, but they're getting to the end of their life. These are Bee's Friend. When they bloom, they have the most incredible periwinkle colored flower that kind of unfurls. It's like a little alien. I love it, and the bees love it, hence the name. These 3 rows are the ones that we planted together. I don't remember if it was February or March, but these all got planted this early spring, late winter, and they're doing good. They're about to bloom. Look at this purple one. The struggle, these guys really don't like it when it gets above 70. They tend to just kind of stop growing, stop blooming. So we'll see. I'll just gotta keep them watered and hope for the best. It is kind of perfect timing if the weather wasn't going to be so weird. As soon as the first batch has finished blooming, the second batch is getting going. But so the timing worked out. The weather's just not cooperating quite as well. The next spot I wanted to walk through is the St. Francis garden. This whole area, I'm in love. Oh, look at this. This viburnum, I just am in love with. I planted it so that I could cut from it, but I can't bring myself to cut from it. The euphorbia is doing good. I'm going to cut all these for the market. Oh, look. The iris is putting up a flower stalk. The lilies that we planted together in a video, they all look really good. They're getting pretty tall. Some of them are a foot and a half already. But this is my favorite spot in the garden right now. We've got, this is what we call the St. Francis garden. This is eventually going to be pretty much a shade garden, at least on the back end. So I'll show you all those plants. Once these arborvitae grow up and block a bit more of the sun, they'll do really well. Everything out on this side is full sun, which makes it a pretty cool combination. But can you see, I mean, look at these bleeding hearts. They're huge. We planted them last spring. They grew tiny little plants and they were really pretty, but they were little. But look at them this year. My goodness. These are 3 feet tall, almost 4 feet tall, and just covered. I love them so much. The daylilies down there are getting going. These are all stilby. They're getting ready to bloom, all of these guys. More of the bleeding hearts. These are the Honesty, the Lunaria. They're creating their seed pods. Aren't those so cool? Later in the season, when they're fully mature, you can slip off the outer coating and they're just the prettiest silvery paper seed pods. They go great in dried flower arrangements. So what do we got here? There's more hellebores. These ones are a little worse for wear. Some of the ones that still look good, I do plan to cut today for the market. Yeah, these got eaten. We didn't get the slug bait out here early enough, but a lot of them are still looking good. John's fern collection. These are really pretty. I think that's the Victoria. I don't know what that is, but it's really crazy fluffy. Let's see. These we bought from a friend at the market. We have 2 of them. They're so pretty and so happy right now. We have a whole bunch of hostas that, like I said, the slug bait didn't get out early enough, but it's there now, so hopefully they'll continue. I love these. They call them, it's not a dinosaur fern, it's a Godzilla fern, something like that. They're really pretty. I love the purple color. More ferns. This guy we got from our friend Eileen too, and I don't know what it is, but it's interesting, and John loves it. So it's pretty. It's a crazy texture, that kind of fuzzy, and yeah. Okay, so the rest of these ferns, these are the spent from our snake's head fritillaria. The spent stems, I'll just leave them be. More ferns, St. Francis. Over here, I intend to put a whole bunch of rose campion. We'll have that silvery foliage and the bright pink flowers. This little bird bath garden has a bunch more astilbes and heucheras. Gosh, I just love heuchera. There's some lemon balm, and these right here, these are fuchsias. It's an interesting color. And some mint and other just random assortment of things. Oh, this poor guy did not get enough protection. This side, it's similar. We have more heuchera. These might be my favorite ones. These bright purple. John, he bought a few more Japanese maples from someone at the farmer's market. This guy, it's so cool. It's going to stay really short. This one, apparently, the red, as it matures, I think he said is the red stem will get redder, which will look really cool in the winter. And then there's another one back here that he got. He wants to make this sort of a little collection garden because they're all dwarf varieties. They won't get very big to go along with this one that we already have. And then my GM, this is probably my favorite perennial right now. They're amazing. They're huge. There's 2 plants right here, and it's 3 feet tall, 4 or 5 feet wide. They're crazy. I'm gonna cut most of these right now. John did just go to the Perennial nursery and bought a bunch more perennials, hostas and heucheras and some shade plants, but he also bought me a bunch more of these GM because they're just awesome. There's less to look at here, but the Dusty Miller is doing good. The sedum. Look at these. Lamb's ear. I just love those so much. The texture is the coolest. We have little ranunculus that are getting ready to bloom. Daylilies, rock cress, the last of the tulips. More daylilies. More ranunculus. We're going to have to figure out what to put in here because there's not a lot going on. There's a couple of bee balm plants, perennials, but that's about it. The Virginia is happy, and more daylilies. The Virginia did really good this year and last year. I think it appreciated not freezing super hard this winter. Okay, so let's walk through real quick the bedroom garden. Can you see the clematis? Look at this. Isn't this clematis just gorgeous? There's a couple different colors because I fertilized it late and it had already started blooming, so some of the unfertilized blooms were that more pale lavendery color, and then after I fertilized it, the more burgundy magenta color came out. It's pretty cool. So don't mind my weeds. Again, I told you I got to get everything planted. Once everything's planted, I'll have the time again to focus on maintenance. These are what are they called? Oh, Bells of Ireland. They're pretty happy right now. I think I need to get some slug bait out, but they've grown quite a bit. My nephew helped me get the feverfew out of here. Just need to lay this back down. I'm going to put the corn cockle in there. This is corn cockle that overwintered from last year, or reseeded itself. This is Bee's Friend. It's going to go up here a little ways. I never did do any good clean out of the Sweet William, but it's survived anyway. Stinking slugs, man, they're everywhere. Doesn't seem to be anything we can do about it either. Yeah, these guys are doing good. They'll bloom in the next week or so. These are my sweet rocket. Dame's rocket, if you will. They smell so good. Oh, sugary. These make fantastic fillers. So I'm going to cut everything that's blooming today. But they go fantastic in a bouquet, and they add that sugary sweet scent. Down here, this is more of the Bee's Friend. I planted this. I sowed these seeds last fall, and some of them came up, obviously, but that's why I have another tray that I can fill in the blanks. The tulips, so the tulips are done. There's a few little stragglers, but all in all, they're done. They were really good. I'm debating. I was talking with my husband yesterday, trying to figure out where to plant squash this year. And I was going to do it out in the veggie garden, but that makes it difficult because those are raised beds with grass in between. It makes it hard to mow. So he suggested we put them here, which might be good. I could put some flowers in the beds over there that I was going to put pumpkins. So this is a good spot. I think I like it. Okay, so the daffodils obviously are done. I need to clean this bit up around here, around the edges of them, and I'm planning to plant some lavender mist along the edges around where the daffodils are. That way they can do their thing and I can still use the space. Oh, and then I love this part of the garden right now. The roses, look at, they're getting ready. They're going to bloom in the next few weeks. They're so good. They're huge. If you watch the video from earlier this spring when I cut them back, I cut them way back. And they've grown this much since. It's pretty impressive. And these peonies, these are all almost ready to go. They're going to bloom in the next week or two. The little guys that we planted together, they look really healthy. They're little. They should be. It's their first year. But they're looking pretty good. So I'm hopeful that they'll be happy where they're at and produce good flowers. Okay, so I think that's it for this garden. We're gonna go around front and see what we've done out that way. John, he retrofitted the quad with this the box back here, and took one of my crates, attached it to the front. Hopefully I can maybe use this to haul buckets back and forth to the cooler that's over here. The field is way down there and the cooler's up here. It was much more practical to have it here, but it's quite a distance from where the actual flowers are coming from. So this, hopefully it'll work. These are some of the perennials that he got. Look at those GM. They're huge. So good. And a bunch of ladies' mantle. All my ladies' mantle died this winter. So got a bunch more. Need to find a new place to put them. Maybe in the front garden over here. And grow them on. I love the leaf structure. And the blooms when they come out are really good cut flowers. Which wouldn't bother me actually at all if I plant them in a garden that I grow normally. If I cut off the blooms, the plant will still be beautiful. So plants. Okay, let's see. We've got this is a wild, I don't know what it's called. It looks to me like it's a wild heuchera. We have them all over in the edges of the forest. Peonies. I'm in love with all of these. Columbine. There's another one in there that's been there for years. I'm going to cut a bunch of these today, but gosh, they're really happy. The allium's putting out blooms. Look at these guys. There's more over here. Yeah, the camellias didn't make it. I don't think. Well, I don't know. They might be pushing new growth here. They look pretty dead though. We have dahlias that popped up. I thought, oh my gosh, look at that. The little bird. They don't even care that I'm here. They're so funny. Dahlias that I assumed with how cold our winter got there for a few weeks that they would be toast. No, they came back. They're pretty vigorous plants. Our prairie fire crabapple, this guy is finishing up his blooms. Man, was it completely full. You can see all the spent blossoms. My goodness. It was 100% pink flower for a couple of weeks there. It was so cool. Perennial lilies. We planted this one with my nephews. This cute little blue spruce. It won't get very big at all, but we needed And we needed something blue in this part of the garden, so I'm really excited about that. This peony, we did finally stake it up. It looks all crazy because it was on the ground and I neglected it. So it's a coral charm. This one, the buds are huge. The flower is really heavy. It's a single almost. It's not like a super fluffy peony, but it's really beautiful. And I've neglected it for a couple of years and let it flop on the ground. But now we have a ring around it, and hopefully it'll stay good from here on out. The little ginkgo looks good. Barberries. These are my overwintered, self-seeded black-eyed Susans, the triloba. They get this tall, and they have so many tiny little yellow black-eyed Susan flowers. They're just pretty. They won't bloom till the fall, though. Look at these allium. John told me the other day, he said we need to buy more. He likes those a lot. So do I. The rock rose, they're coming back to life. They got shocked when they got planted, but they'll survive, I think. This is another coral charm. It's only got a couple buds. I think it's getting shrouded too much by this shrub. Need to probably move it next year. Pull it out a little bit so that it has some room, and or cut back the shrub because it's getting huge. We planted more GM. These little tiny guys, though, they don't get huge like the other ones, but they'll look really good in here, and they should fill in so they're pretty nearly touching. More peonies, more dahlias coming up on their own. Those anemone, this right here is anemone flower. I planted those like 5 years ago, and they just keep coming back. Random strawberries. I don't know where those came from. We have this poppy it overwintered too. It never died back. But it's looking pretty good. We have more peonies. We have a lot of peonies. I love them. This barberry, I love the color of this. It's wicked though. It's got barbs for sure. And our lollipop crabapple. I'm trying to get out of the shade. Look at that. 100% covered in flowers. This is all new growth up here. This is so beautiful. And then our I just had the name of it. This lilac, I can't think of what it's called, but it is just so good. This plant though is in the wrong spot. It gets like 10 feet tall, 5 feet wide, 10 or 12 feet tall, 5 feet wide. So it's clearly too close to the crabapple. Look at the rhodie. If you're not from around here, you may or may not know, but rhododendrons are the state flower. And right now, they're hitting their peak all over the western side of the state. Look at the bees. It's absolutely humming. I need to cut some prunette back up off the walkway. And surprising, believe it or not, rhodies make really good cut flowers. So I'm going to take advantage of that and cut the blooms or the branches that need to be pruned back. I'm going to cut those flowers and use them in Mother's Day bouquets. They last a good week if they're collected and treated properly. Okay, and my still weedy mess of a vegetable garden. John did clean out a couple of them, a couple beds. This one we had calendula and we still do, but I need to clear it out. But he cleaned up this one, planted his tomato. This one is still a mess. This one he planted a few ears of corn, just because he always does. I've neglected so much that my asparagus went to flower. I didn't even realize we had any down in there. which is rather unfortunate because I love asparagus. Oh, and we have moles that are making trails throughout the garden. Fantastic. Down here we have all of our iris. Look, they're blooming. So cool. Such pretty flowers. I've got buds on a few more that may or may not go into bouquets this week. We have our, this is onions, the sets that I got from my friend Chris. He has a YouTube channel too, Seymour Starts. It's pretty good. You should check him out. But he gave me these sets. He had extra, and cilantro overwintered or self-seeded into this garden, and I'm not gonna complain. Sometimes the volunteers are just what you want. And this guy is all my garlic. Oh, there's a hole there. This guy's all my garlic. It's looking pretty good. Planted it last fall. Could probably use another round of fertilizer, but it's living its life. The rest of these iris we planted last fall, they're all looking pretty good. We've got some, you know, bug damage, but that's fairly normal. And then there's nothing in these beds. I have a whole bunch of starts of paste tomatoes, like Heinz tomatoes, and some peppers, and a cherry tomato, so they'll find their way in here soon enough. You don't really want to plant those too early anyway. They will, if they get cold, they'll just suffer and struggle, but now is probably a good time. I'm going to get that field planted, and then I can start working on all the other projects that we have. Oh, it's so exciting. I did want to give you one more update on what's going on the front porch. The plants that we put in the pots together, they're looking so good and quite a bit different than they did when we planted them. These first, real quick, this Angelica, I swear to you, a week ago it was this tall. Now it's all the way up, and the bees love these so much. I'll try to capture some video later on. They will be all over the top of that, and those blooms, there'll be 50 on one plant. It's just crazy. Let's see, hellebores, that hosta back there that's hiding. More Angelica. I really should cut this one back so it doesn't take over. Once you plant Angelica, you will have it forever. So, fair warning. Okay, so this cute little vignette. John got this new set of patio furniture. It's certainly better than the plastic ones that we had. We put some strawberry mint and a verbena. Really pretty with the thyme. And this is just more thyme and some succulents. These pots need a refresh. The rosemary is reaching. The thyme looks a little rough. This guy needs to be repotted. But look at this. When we planted this Super Tunia Vista bubblegum, it was just a few leaves, tiny little guy, no flowers. But look at it now. It's been like, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. It's grown like crazy. So is the one over here. Blooming like bonkers. Super happy. The Bordeaux, look at the color of that bloom. It's also doing really good. I don't think the sweet potato vine is getting quite enough water for being out in the hot afternoon sun. I'm gonna have to, that's another thing on the list, is I bought a kit from Dripworks for setting up drip on all these pots. I just need to do that, and I'll film it when I do it because I'm gonna learn it as we go. I've never done it before, and we can share in the learning. The other thing that we planted was this This verbena, it's not blooming yet, but it's definitely grown. It fit inside of that pot all the way when we first planted it. And I think, oh, one more spot, the cottage garden back here. It's so good right now. It needs some love, needs some weeding, needs things to be cut back, but the honeysuckle is in bloom and it smells incredible. The wallflowers are in bloom, the peonies are getting ready. Yeah, it's definitely full right now. And soon enough, it'll be full of color. Let's start over here. So these little guys, these are a perennial. I don't know what they're called, but they just keep coming back every year. There's a tiny little pink flower in there. Armesia, I think we need to move that. The wallflowers have been blooming for a long time. These tulips, amazingly, these parrot tulips, they've been popping up every year for the last 5 years. We don't usually overwinter tulips well. The hydrangea's getting budded up. The rose is growing. I think it's in the wrong spot. It's way too shaded back here. I should move it somewhere else to put another honeysuckle or something here. The blueberries are looking good. The huckleberry has gotten just massive. I mean, I don't mind. It's really pretty, but wow, it's huge. The hardy geraniums are doing good. This is more of that wild heuchera, at least that's what I call it. More blueberries, and they're covered in flowers, so we'll be doing good. This has gotten huge. This is a Daphne, and it also smells sugary sweet, and I love it. But it's gotten huge. It was not supposed to get that big per the tag, but here we are. So maybe need to prune it. It's burying this heuchera down here. Can you see the honeysuckle blooms? This guy, it just, oh, I can smell it right now. It's that sort of, it's a sweet scent, but it's almost spicy, like it has cardamom or some kind of scent in there gosh, it's just my favorite thing in the garden right now, the scent of that. And just a couple of open blooms and the whole yard you'll smell it all the way out. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, that's fantastic this time of year. The rose is doing good, this little guy. There's something going on this year with our bay laurels, because this one is struggling and the great big one in front of the shed is struggling. I don't know what it is, but they're not doing well. Peony again. We have some cute little pincushion flowers. This rose, I pruned it hard and it's coming back nicely. I need to really get in there and deadhead. I never got around to it this last year, this hydrangea. It's so pretty when it blooms and you just need to get after it. And then all the herbs, they're just taking over the world back here. That rosemary needs to get cut back all the way. It got too big. It's time for it to go, I think, and get replaced. We actually have this tiny little Russian sage that keeps trying back here. I don't think it gets enough sun there either. And more wallflowers. Yeah. And oh, look at this. This beech with the copper. Oh, it's just so good. This guy it's a European beech. It'll take forever to get big. But man, those copper leaves are just, they're so good. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this tour. Everything is changing every couple of weeks. There's a new batch of flowers that are growing. I'll try to just do some shorts, some flower focused videos. If you like those, let me know, and we can talk about whatever is blooming right now that you just want more details about, or I can give you more details. Cut flowers, how to harvest, when to harvest, how to treat them as things get going. So yeah, this part of the year, it's kind of funny because the tulips and the ranunculus are finishing up, so they're at a lull. Some of the perennials are starting to go, but we don't have near as much. It's kind of a lull in the season for us. Soon enough, the peonies will start blooming, the roses will bloom, then the lilies will bloom, and then everything in the field will start blooming. But in the meantime, there's kind of a dip in the flower production. That's just why I'm hoping that those ranunculus hang tough through the hot days. But yeah, it's springtime in Washington. The garden this is kind of my favorite time. Everything is full of so much promise, and we're almost there. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you enjoy this, and then I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.